Now, this next story is going to be fascinating, man. This next story comes from Unicorn Riot. I remember when this story first came out, and this was published on December the 6th of 2023. We're now in 2024, January. But this story came out last month, and I wanted to cover this because it's very, very fascinating, right? So when the news came out that Derek Chauvin had been stabbed in prison, I originally didn't even cover it. And I go by many names. I'm known as ACAB, ACAB Devil, Father ACAB, the ACAB Man. You know, I'm known as many, many things. I'm known to be a guy who covers police misconduct. I specialize in cops who commit, cops who are predators with badges, but I cover all ranges of police misconduct. So the fact of the matter is I didn't even cover this, and that should be your first red flag to you. I didn't even talk about it. When I spoke about it, right? I'm gonna show you what I said when I actually spoke about it. They want us to believe a member of the Mexican mafia targeted Derek Chauvin on behalf of Black Lives Matter, despite the fact that a simple YouTube search shows mountains of evidence of videos showing the anti-black racism of the Mexican mafia. Next, you'll be telling me that Epstein unalived himself. Nothing about that situation smells right. I said that. That's why I didn't even bother covering it. I knew from the start. Wait a minute. You tell me a member of the Mexican mafia was doing this in solidarity with Black Lives Matter? What do you take me for? Like, I want you to see this, right? Mexican mafia racism. I want to make sure I make this bigger for you so you can see what I'm talking about. Because everyone accuses us of being racist against Latino people, which is called a projection. Read that headline right there. How the anti-black racism of Mexican gang members in prison spills into the streets. Latino gangs history of calling for cleansing of my folks in Los Angeles. Guerrilla Black on a prison standoff between 400 black people and 800 Hispanic people. On DJ Vlad, you know, the informant. I didn't just make that up. I just simply did a simple Google search. It is not hard to find. Mexican mafia puts green light on black people in Latino neighborhoods. This wasn't even hard. The Mexican mafia encouraged racial tension. It's a known thing. I don't know why people play these games, man. Because you only playing games with yourself. You ain't playing games with me. You're not fooling me. So now you got questions surrounding the FBI informant charged with stabbing Derek Chauvin. So the man's an FBI informant. And people said that this guy did it to get sympathy for Derek Chauvin. I knew that from the very beginning. So let's get into this story to see if some red flags pop out to you. Federal inmate and former FBI informant John Terzak was charged last week with attempted unaliving by federal prosecutors for the Black Friday stabbing incident of fellow prisoner Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer who was convicted for the 2020 unaliving of George Floyd. The incident has raised questions about the FBI's involvement and whether or not the stabbing was an inside job. Ooh. Interesting. Derek Chauvin was found guilty on April 20th, 2021 for unaliving George Floyd, an unarmed black man who cried out for his mom as Chauvin choked him. Videos of the unaliving went viral and spurred a massive uprising in Minneapolis and around the globe. At the time of Floyd's unaliving, Chauvin was a 19-year veteran with the Minneapolis Police Department. And by the way, when people say that the whole chokehold, the whole knee to the back of the neck was an actual signature move, I've been saying that for the longest time. In fact, one of the people, Amy Collins, her son, who has autism, same thing happened to him. And I put that out there years ago, man. So I mean, yeah, it was known about Chauvin. It's not a, you know, it's not something that was unknown to Minneapolis police. In fact, from what I'm understanding, some of his co-workers encouraged him. On November 24th, the day after Thanksgiving, also known as Black Friday, Chauvin was attacked with an improvised knife in the prison's law library around 12:30 p.m. while he was using the photocopier. Chauvin survived the attack and was taken to a hospital for treatment. Immediately after the assault, observers took to social media to celebrate, referring to the incident as Shanksgiving. Yeah, celebrating too soon. Others took to social media to raise concerns over foul play, calling it a hit and an inside job, accusing the FBI of being responsible. Despite the rumors of in the conspiracy theories flying around the internet, the attacker's identity was withheld from the public for 1 week. Terzak's name was finally released on December the 1st after he was formally charged in federal court. Interesting. So this dude was an FBI informant. We know there's a history of anti-black racism coming from the Mexican mafia. This guy was supposedly a member of the Mexican mafia. People have called that into question. The only common denominator is the FBI is known to be in this guy's life beforehand. And we know that when you're locked up and you were an informant before, you could certainly be one afterwards. So the common denominator here is the FBI. So I do believe, just based on this information, I honestly believe it was an inside job. I think it was done to give Derek Chauvin some sympathy. See.